First of all, spoiler alert for Rising Flames, the new story. If you don't want to hear what happens, click away now. So I was playing Rising Flames the other day, and I was at the final boss, well, the final fight, you know, where you're protecting Glint's baby dragon against all the destroyers that come out, all these crazy green destroyers, and all of a sudden, Lazarus shows up. Lazarus the Dire, and he all of a sudden starts helping to defend you, and the player character is like, what's going on here? You know, you're totally, you know, evil. And Lazarus is like, oh, well, hey, guess what? I've had a change of heart. I think we should all work together to defend Tyria. I can use those that follow me in the White Mantle for the greater good, and together we can destroy the Elder Dragons, because if we don't work together, we're going to be screwed over. Which, those are totally wise words, but they're also coming from a guy who is notoriously evil, you know, and kind of the leader of the White Mantle, a totally evil faction. So our character is like, you know, what's your angle here? What's going on? This can't be right. And I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking, you know what? Lazarus, this guy, I bet you that if we trust him, he's just gonna betray us later. It's gonna end really bad, you know, it's something horrible is gonna happen. He's gonna corrupt the baby dragon, or something dumb is gonna happen. Something awful. And I kind of thought that was it, and I was like, I don't know, I mean, it'd be an interesting plot point for ArenaNet to throw at us, but I don't think there's any way this guy could actually be good. But then I stopped and I decided to think about it. The more and more I thought about it over the days, I realized that this actually makes a lot of sense. You see, Lazarus is not necessarily completely evil. The whole reason why we assume he's such a bad guy is because, number one, he's a Mersat, and number two, he's like the leader of the White Mantle. But if you think about it, Lazarus comes from the past. He was just resurrected from like 250 years ago. And in his time, the White Mantle really weren't the bad guys, to be honest. Now, I know what you're gonna say if you play Guild Wars 1, or if you know anything about the White Mantle, you're gonna go, hey, wait, what are you talking about? You know, they were like crazy dictators, they took over Kryta, and they were sacrificing villagers, yada yada yada, they were totally evil. But when you think about it, all the bad things they did, they actually did them for good reasons. For example, the whole creation of the White Mantle and them taking over the ruling house at Kryta happened because at the time, Kryta was being assailed by the Char. The Char, of course, were being controlled by the Flame Legion and were going on a crazy rampage, just like trying to destroy all humans and all this stuff. And the current ruling class of Kryta just couldn't handle it. They weren't doing very well, and basically Sol D'Alessio and the White Mantle stepped in with the quote-unquote unseen ones, aka the Mersat, and they basically just whooped the Char's butts with, you know, spectral agony and all this cool, evil black magic type of stuff that the Mersat could do. And so they kind of took over Kryta, and everyone was like, hey, that's okay, I guess. You know, it was kind of done out of necessity. So the whole formation of the White Mantle really did not come out of evil at all. It came out of necessity. And yes, I know they were kind of dictator-ish, and they did some questionable things while ruling, but overall I'd say being ruled by the White Mantle is probably better than having them all hacked to bits by the Char or being enslaved by the Char. Then, of course, there's the big point of the White Mantle sacrificing people on the Bloodstone. Oh boy, how could that possibly be good, right? Well, it's one of those situations where they were actually doing a terrible thing, but they were doing it for the right reason. You see, when they took these quote-unquote chosen ones to the White Mantle, were taking these quote-unquote chosen ones to the Bloodstone and sacrificing them there. I don't remember the exact science of it, but basically when they died, their life energy or something like that was getting transferred into the soul battery, which were these pylons around the Bloodstone. And basically what that was doing is they were storing up this energy, and they actually were using it to keep the Door of Kamali shut. And if you don't know what that is, basically the Door of Kamali was this thing on the Ring of Fire Islands that was basically the gateway between Tyria and a different realm. This realm was full of Titans, which were these big, evil, burning angry creatures that seem to just want to destroy Tyria, and basically they were trying to get out, and the White Mantle and the Mersat were actually delaying them from breaking out and keeping Tyria from being destroyed. So yes, they were doing a pretty bad thing, but they were actually doing it for pretty good reasons. They were defending Tyria against Oblivion. In fact, a big part of the story of prophecies in Guild Wars 1 was that Vizier Kilbron, aka the Lich, was steering you to go after the White Mantle, specifically because the White Mantle and the Mersat, they were actually hindering his plans of world domination, because he was trying to open the door of Kamali to, I guess, destroy the world or something like that, and basically the White Mantle were stopping him from doing that. So when you think about it, really, the White Mantle, they did some bad things, they weren't the greatest people, but they weren't necessarily completely evil. There was a reason and a purpose to everything they did, even if some of those things that they did were bad. You know, and if you look at it, honestly, comparing them to other enemies in Guild Wars, they were really not that bad. There was always a reason to why they did things, or who they were killing, or what they were doing, whereas a lot of the other enemies were just kill, 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 I just want to see the world burn types of things. Really, the White Mantle, if this were D&D, they'd probably be lawful evil. Yes, they're still bad guys, but they still follow a set of rules, and they're not uncivilized animals. They're not just killing indiscriminately here. Which leads back into my whole point of Lazarus. He thinks that, you know, he can use this White Mantle for good because the White Mantle isn't completely evil, and he himself is not completely evil because he also comes from this time period. Now, granted, the current White Mantle that we're dealing with in Guild Wars 2 is a bit of a different story. They pretty much are just evil. They just kind of want to take over Kryta for, I guess, revenge. And mainly the guys led by Caudicus, they seem to just kind of want to have the downfall of Kryta. So I'd say they are evil, but the guys that follow Lazarus would definitely be able to listen to him and take his side. And I think they could actually do good. It would be kind of weird to see you actually working with White Mantle, but honestly, lore-wise, it does make a pretty good amount of sense. Now, honestly, I do kind of wish Lazarus would have been evil instead of good, mainly just because I think it would have been a cool boss fight to fight this, like, power, you know, this magic-soaked Mersat, you know, filled with ancient magics and stuff. I think that would have been a cool battle. But at the very least, we're still going to be fighting the White Mantle at least a bit, since Caudicus and his side of the mantle are totally evil. Anyway, guys, that's my opinion. I think that the White Mantle really aren't that bad, and Lazarus kind of being a good guy, in the end, makes sense, considering who he is and where he comes from. But then again, who knows? Maybe he is an evil mastermind, and maybe he does just want to destroy Tyria, and he's just trying to gain our trust to do so. I don't know. What do you guys think?